You ever meet someone who hates you for no real reason? Yeah, that was my landlord. Or more precisely, the assistant landlord who lived next door. From the moment I moved in, she decided I was her personal enemy. She yelled about parking lines, called me after quiet hours, and somehow lost my rent checks every few months. And get this, she wasn't even the real landlord. She was just another tenant with a half-rent discount to manage the property. I didn't know it at the time, but she wanted her friend to have my unit. When her friend failed the credit check, she took it personally, like she'd been cheated out of something that was supposed to be hers. So I became her target. At first I told myself, just survive the year, then move. But she picked the wrong person to mess with. I'm not the confrontational type. I pay rent early. I keep things tidy. I mind my own business. But I also keep receipts, literal and digital ones. Emails, texts, screenshots. A few months before moving out, I noticed water pooling around the water heater. I emailed her, politely. No response. I followed up a week later. Still nothing. A third email marked urgent. Finally, I'll look into it. That was it. Then I realized what she was doing, stalling for time. Because if mold appeared, she could blame me and keep my deposit. So yeah, I started preparing for war. Quietly. One afternoon, pure luck struck. The actual owner stopped by the neighborhood. Giselle, my petty overlord, wasn't home. I walked up, smiled, and said, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for being a great landlord. If you have a minute, could you help me do the move-out inspection now?" He agreed. We walked through my spotless unit. Everything looked perfect. Then we reached the water heater. I paused. There's something I should show you. I opened the closet. The floor was soaked. I pulled up the wet towels I'd been replacing for weeks. He frowned. "Did you tell Giselle?" "Oh yes," I said, handing him a folder. "Here are the emails." His face turned bright red. He looked shocked, angry even. He finally realized his trusted property manager had been lying to him. He read the timestamps, the ignored messages. Then he just said, "All right, you'll get your full deposit back." Then it hit me. My last rent check was due soon. $750. My deposit? $500. So I smiled and said, "How about we just call it even? I pay you $250 and we're square." He chuckled. "That's fine by me." We signed, shook hands, and he left. I didn't even realize it yet, but that moment was checkmate. I was paying less, and she had just lost all control. The entire game had flipped. A few days passed. No knocks, no drama. For the first time, I thought it was actually over. Then one night, the door exploded with pounding. It was her, red-faced, furious. "You didn't pay full rent! You'll be evicted by tomorrow!" I calmly replied, "Actually, the owner did the inspection himself. He signed off on the $250 arrangement. You can talk to him." Her eyes went wide, brain buffering like a Windows 98 machine. She stuttered, yelled, even sprayed spit mid-sentence, like literal droplets of fury. Her anger revved up like an engine in the red zone. You could almost hear the RPM screaming. She'd hit gear 11. And I just looked her in the eye, said nothing, and very slowly closed the door. That sound, that gentle click, that was the sound of her power evaporating. A few days later, the owner came back to fix the water heater himself. We chatted and he mentioned, "My daughter's taking over as the new on-site manager." I smiled. "Oh, what about Giselle?" "She's moving out," he said flatly. "She can't afford the full rent anymore." She'd fallen victim to her own rules. And that was that. No shouting match, no revenge prank, just quiet, perfect justice. What I learned? You don't always win by yelling louder. Sometimes you win by letting the evidence speak for you. That's the real victory. Or like someone in the comments once said, "You're angry now? Will you be happier when you experience the consequences of your anger? Giselle wasn't. She lost her discount, her control, and eventually her home, all because she couldn't stand losing a fight that never needed to exist. So tell me, have you ever beaten a petty tyrant with receipts? Or had a manila folder moment that turned everything around? Let's hear your story. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be documented.